Welcome everybody to Sotong Sessions. You are on with
Candace,
Delia,
and Jazz. And y'all, today is our season 3 finale. Can you believe it?
made it. Look, Mama, we made it.
3 seasons of Sotong. What do y'all think about that? It's crazy.
it's incredible.
Incredible. That's a good word. Why you say incredible, D?
Because I don't think that we envisioned this from the start, and then especially us doing the last 2 seasons virtually.
Yeah.
I think it's incredible that we've been able to do this, and it's been a lot of fun, and people are really vibing with what we're saying and our voices, and I love that.
Okay. Incredible is a good word.
Yeah.
What you think, Candace? What's your word?
Right.
It has been delicious.
Ooh, okay.
It's just been like satisfying and satiating and all other S words that lead to delicious. Yeah. It's been yummy. What people say that yummy?
Yummy, yeah.
It's been that.
I like that. I like that word. That's good. Delicious.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just been good. Like it's been good for the soul. You know what I mean? For us to get on here every week, talk about current events, throw it back to our childhood. We did a lot of throwback episodes in this season, which we didn't start out to do that at all. But I think with the heaviness in the world right now, we needed kind of something to alleviate all the tension. So just talking about those things, learning more about each other. As long as we've known each other, we still don't know all there is to know. So just having this space to get together every week, love it.
Yeah. I think that was my favorite part, is really like, oh, that's who you are. Like that's been illuminating at best.
Right. We put some pieces together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all. So today, as promised, we are following up on our dating episode. So this is dating part 2 for this season. We are going to dig a little bit deeper into relationships and not just dating. So y'all stay tuned because as Candace likes to say, it's about to be an episode.
It's going to be an episode. It's going to be an episode.
All right. So last time for the part 1 dating episode we talked about in this season, we kind of talked about the beginning stages when you're with somebody, like what are some green flags, what are red flags. So we're going to pick up where we left off. So for you guys, let's say, you're dating somebody, maybe you met on an app, maybe you met in the grocery store, maybe you met at the movies, who knows? But you've been seeing this person for a little bit. So how long are you going to date them until you commit to a full-on relationship?
Candace, I am really interested to hear what you have to say on this because I know what your process was before. So I am really curious as to what your process is now.
I was going to ask D because
I know that's why I said it first.
We know that you the one likely, didn't we say in season 1, who's most likely to be engaged before she even admits that she's dated? And so I'm curious about D, but okay.
I'm not engaged, so go ahead, Candace.
You're not engaged. Wait, what's the question? How long?
Yeah, how long, like how many dates are you going on before you commit to this person?
How long? Oh Lord, how long? Man, I'm not a quantifier. I'm a qualifier. Because I've my ex-fiance, we dated for 2 weeks. And then we were like, we're official. And then we stayed together for like 4 years. And then we were on and off for like 10 years. So I think if the fit is good, the fit is good. But so there's that. And then there's then I dated a guy that we never got to that point. We dated for like 9 months and never got to the point of being like, okay, it's just you and me. We're still good friends. So I don't know. I think it come down to the measure of a man. All of these innuendos, I'm not even trying to be, I'm not trying to be that person.
Wow. Okay.
Sorry, Bob. But you know what I mean? Like, so this is how I decide. Like, for me, it comes down to conversation and banter, right? If the combo game has a nice banter, and with men in particular, like if they can take a hit and it doesn't bruise their ego to the point where they feel like they're on the verge of retaliating, then I'm like, we can cohab, like we can do whatever. But if like the combo game is like hard and I'm always fighting for it to be good, and then I feel like I gotta like tread lightly because he's sensitive in this area and whatever, then we could date for months and never get there. So that's how I kind of measure it. Maybe I need a better measuring stick, but that's what I've been working with.
That's
okay, B. Now tell me.
Okay. I think it's similar. Like with one of my relationships, it was very quick. It was like, I like you, you like me, we together. Like it just kind of happened, right? I think he called me at work one day and I was like, this man calling me at work. But he called me at work because he wanted to know what time I got off so he could pick me up after to take me to dinner. And I was like, okay, great, fantastic. You the one.
You the one.
Right? Like that was it. And then I've had other relationships where it did take a little bit longer time. But I think, Candace, what you said is key, is it's how comfortable I think I feel. Like I have to feel comfortable with you in order for me to be like, yeah, we're together. I have to be able to enjoy myself. I have to be able to laugh. I have to be able to cry in front of you and you not freak out. I have to be, you know what I mean? Like those are things that I feel like I look for and I need when I'm like, yeah, this person and I can rock officially for the long haul, or even for a little bit of time.
But the crying thing, like for you to run through all those emotions takes some time. So like when you test them with all of that, how long has it been?
No. So here's the thing. I cry for like every emotion. I cry when I'm happy. I cry when I'm sad. I cry when I'm laughing. Like I cry for everything. There are always tears coming out of my face. So if you get disturbed by that, then it's not going to really roll, because I could be watching a movie and be crying and you looking at me like it's just a movie, but I'm invested. Like you understand, like that's me. So if you're looking at that situation like this chick is crazy, then it's probably not going to work.
I think I did see you cry at Inside Out. Didn't we see that at midnight? Yeah. And that person, yes. Okay.
All the time for a host of different reasons.
Yeah.
So you do. You're just gonna have to. I'm very dramatic. Y'all know I am very dramatic.
That's your anointing too. So nobody better squelch that. I'm like, let her act it out. Let her act it out. That's her anointing.
All right. So along the same lines though, before you become exclusive in a relationship, do you feel that it's okay to date multiple people? Because especially if you're on a dating app, it's kind of almost understood that you're not exclusively talking to one person. Where do y'all stand on that?
Absolutely. Until it's exclusive, it's not exclusive. What's the problem?
And then even then, I'm still kind of like,
well, wait. Even then, okay, so exclusive in your
okay, before I have matured, as I mentioned before, so I'll do this no more. But what I used to do, because like that initial, like, okay, we're gonna try exclusive. It was like exclusive light, exclusive adjacent. Like
no. This is black and white.
You know what it takes? It takes time to break off all those other ones. So I'm like, okay, you're the one I want, but I gotta break Jimmy off a little slowly. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's like a fade out.
Fade out. Okay, this in my mind is very black and white. Either you're exclusive or you aren't. So in my relationships, at least, there have always been a conversation, a sit down, a talk, and saying, hey, we're exclusive now. We're in a relationship, the two of us. Everything else is getting cut off. Like from this moment moving forward, we are boyfriend and girlfriend. Like that's a carved out talk in the relationship.
So here's my question. You sit down, you say to him, hey, we exclusive, it's just you and me. Everybody else getting cut off. And he say, good, let's do that. Then you hang up with him or you separate. Now you got to go do the cutting off, right? Or do you cut off and then say, let's be exclusive? Because that's where I run into trouble. That's why I got to fake. I say, yo, you the one I want. You the one I'm rocking with. I don't want to be with nobody else. He say, good. I'm like, good. Yo, Tommy, me and you can really rock it no more. And Tommy's like, we need to have this conversation in person. And I'm like, all right, let's meet on Friday. We go out to dinner on Friday. Tommy plead his case. I say to Tommy, okay, I'm gonna give you one more week. I don't know. Let's see how this.
No, see, okay, Candace, I was with you. I was with you up until the one more week.
Because I have a hard time. Like, if someone, you know what, my last 6-7 breakups, they've had cases to plead. And you know, like I said, I'm very like conversation game is strong. So if you present to me a case, I'm gonna hear it out.
You ain't no lawyer. You ain't no public defender. You trying to be too diplomatic. It's like, look, I'm with this person. I now have a boyfriend. That means that you and we're done. Whatever we had, keyword had, it's over. So I don't ain't no second chance. I think by then you should have made up in your mind that no matter what, you got to be strong in those moments, Candace. And I feel like
I do have it made up in my mind. I just want to let them.
Because, okay, think about it the other way around. Okay. Mm-hmm. If he had some other women that he was seeing and talking to, yes, and then the two of y'all established you were together, you're exclusive, and yes, then he goes out, he tries to cut these women off, but then they plead their case, yes, and they're like, give me another week, give me another couple of weeks, and he's like, all right, fine, and he's now seeing them while he already said
he would tell me, because I always tell him, he would tell me, yo, I went see Brenda, she had this sob story, and I was like, word, we're both in a fade out period.
So how long does that last? Because that gets really messy. And let's say your fade out before his fade out. So now one of y'all are in an exclusive relationship and the other one is not.
I mean, I've never had a fade out that lasted longer than 2 weeks. I'm just saying, maybe I need to break up with all those other people first and then say, okay, it's you and me. Maybe I need to reverse my order.
Yeah, why don't you reverse it and try a fade into an exclusive relationship? That might work.
Maybe that's a good idea.
Well, I ain't got no fade out or no fade in at the moment. I'm just out, so nobody has to worry.
But I feel like for me, in my fade in, fade outs, whatever, I've never cut somebody off in person. It's been either a text, a phone call, something to let them know, hey, we're not dating anymore because I have a boyfriend.
Yes.
No, because at that point, there's no need for me to go out on another date with that person. Because dating to me is not a serious relationship. So there's no need for me to meet up with you again to explain to you that I now have a boyfriend.
That's why yours is black and white, because you ain't never had to face these clowns in person. Sure, if I say, okay, it's over through a text, but I'm a classy lady. I'm not going to break it with you.
I ain't classy. You see all this right here?
Let me see this, please, girl. I like it.
The way that Jazzy views dating versus maybe the way Candace views dating, right? So there's just a little difference there. I think the understanding with Jazz is look, we dating, we're having fun, it's cool, I'm getting to know you, you're getting to know me, and if it don't work, it don't work, we keep it moving. You know what I mean? That's what it is. And then there's no hard feelings on either end. Hey, I'm caught up with somebody else, great, talk to you later, nice knowing you, bye.
I understand that. Maybe I'm just from a different generation. Okay. Because if the thing is, if I'm dating somebody, if it's more than one, then like I said, your conversation game there's something there, right? Mm-hmm. This being said, though, a lot of my exes were still friends in some form because they were good people. Okay. Yeah, so that's my problem. I can't just send a good person a text message yeah, I know we bonded and we had talked about that one thing and I know about your situations and I'm hoping therapy working out for you. By the way, it's over. Text, send.
Okay, that's different. See, in my mind, I'm talking about dudes that you met on POF and you got a roster in your phone and you've been dating back and forth for however many weeks and you need to end it. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about someone you have history with or someone that is a friend. That's different.
Jazzy got a roster. I just want to point that out.
I heard that too.
I'm a married woman and I do not.
Past tense.
No.
Do you rosterify, or is it like, I mean, how you?
I don't have a roster.
You know what? Did you have a roster? Did you POF? Did you have a POF roster?
No, I never dated like that though. Like I was never a dater. I didn't do any of that. I went on a couple dates, but I didn't date around. So I didn't, and then even like the dating apps and stuff, it took me a really, really, really long time before I was like, okay, fine, I'll sign up for a dating app or two. But even then I barely used them.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Even so that I think we just have different situations. Cause even when I did the dating app, y'all know I was doing like 2-week protocols, 4 weeks. So everybody who made it, I only had like 3 dudes who made it through that. And they were like we had established conversation. So we would go out a couple times and then 1 out of the 3 survived. And so I went out with the other 2 to break it off, to say, hey, no, I like this other dude.
Okay.
Or I let them leave me. Like that works too. I just let them leave me.
But I feel like that's not fair. I'm much more like direct. Cause then if you let them, like, it's almost like you end up ghosting them because you don't want to tell them it's over. You know what I'm saying?
Like leading them on.
I'd rather just be direct and be like, look.
Through a text message though?
Or a phone call. It depends on where they like rank on the roster.
I have not broke up with anybody. I break up with everybody in person. Like I don't think there's one person, unless we broke up like twice. If we were on our second or third breakup, because sometimes you gotta run it back and make sure. I don't break up like that. Like, yeah.
Okay. But see, also in my mind, it's not a break up because you weren't in a relationship.
This is so fascinating.
I just think there's like, honestly, I think my approach is far classier than yours. That's all I'm saying.
Ooh. Let me tell you about classy. I'm going to show you class when I take these earrings off and jump through the Zoom screen.
I do feel the fear of the Lord though. Like you might just.
She might just.
But so you know what? Okay, I would rather be upfront through text or phone calls than ghost, because I feel like no matter how I'm communicating, I'm being honest, I'm being upfront, and I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. So I don't see the problem with that with someone that I was never in a relationship with, to do it that way.
Yeah, no, I think I honestly, a part of me thinks it might be generational. Like, I do think that partly because like, text is relatively new for me, like, communicating that way. And then, like I said, usually if it's somebody that I've dated or dating, then there was something there. So I'm usually like, hey, let's talk, meet me at the coffee shop on the corner. And they were like, hey, how you doing? Oh, it's good. How's everything? How your mom and them doing? They still good? Yeah, so I really think that we make better friends than lovers. There's some things about me I could tell that you're not really vibing with, and there's some other things. And plus, I would, really like to see someone else. And they're like, cool, respect.
So what if you're not in the same city as that person?
Oh, I'm not really good at long distance dating. What?
Because that's also another thing. I don't have time to schedule a weekend with this person who's coming in from out of town to sit them down to let them know what's up. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I haven't had the international love situation work out in my favor anyway. So that's when I lose all class and I just ghost. I ghost.
All right. So they say when you're first dating somebody, or even when you're in a new relationship, that you are not meeting that person, you're meeting their representative. So how long do you feel in a relationship that you're meeting that person's representative or that you are being your own representative?
Years.
Yes.
Years.
Wait, years?
Yeah, this is something I'm trying to work out in therapy, because I realize like one of my biggest issues is that I have a hard time believing anybody who I would choose to be in my life would choose me. Like most of the people in my life I didn't choose. Circumstance put them there and they're stuck with me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But anyone that I would like, ooh, I want to rock with that person, I always feel like they would never like want to rock with me. So when they do want to rock with me, I'm like, I don't know why they would hang out with me. So I got to like keep tap dancing, like keep the show alive to keep them there. Cause I don't know what part of me made them think that I was cool enough to hang out with. And I don't want to find out. I don't want them to find out that it's, you know, it's not like that all the time. So
But if you were being yourself, like you weren't being a representative to attract them in the first place. So is it that you start once you are together?
I think I'm always a representative. That's what I'm trying to say.
Hmm.
Like, or I think like, so when I'm meeting people, like when I'm out and other people are around, the more gregarious side of my nature comes out in a social situation. But the truth is I'm an introvert and I'm very like kind of withdrawn and very calculated.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody, you know what I'm saying? If you're meeting people,
Mm-hmm.
then that's the outgoing or the social side of you, right? You don't meet people in a vacuum. And then I think that once they realize, you know, that I light up that room, but I don't light up every room and I don't keep lights on all the time. You know what I'm saying? Then it's like, oh, is that who you are? I think that's how they would feel.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Jazz, what do you?
So how long are you willing to like put up with someone else's representative before you feel like we're just not being authentic with each other?
So here's the thing. Because I feel like people, when they meet, like especially guys, like I'm pretty good at reading people, like their situations. So they feel like, yo, she the homie, I could tell her anything. And then they let down their mask first.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't realize like me, my like cool, whatever is my situation, is my mask. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like guys tend to like let down their guard with me way earlier. I haven't, at least as far as I'm concerned. Like there was a few guys I dated and they like always had, and you feel it, it's like always, you know, together. And I'm very turned off by that. So I usually stop going out with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How about you? Like, what's your, when we meet you for the first time, are we meeting the whole jazz?
No, because like I said, there's layers to this. You know what I'm saying? But I agree with you. When you are out in social settings, or if you're like on a dating app, you are more outgoing, like that social side of you kicks in. Mm-hmm. But for me, it was always very important to find someone that I could just be jazz with, because people have this idea of who they think I am or who they've seen me to be in a public setting. Yes. And that's not all of who I am. Like, yeah, that's a part of who I am, but it's not all of who I am. And at the end of the day, when I come home, I need to be able to take off my earrings, take off my makeup, take off my heels, and just be. Like, I don't need to have to like turn myself on or put on a show or perform for anybody. Like, it's just jazz. Like, that's what you're getting. So that was something that I was very conscious of when I was dating and like in relationships, was seeing how I interact with, you know, a person on that level.
So how long did it take for your husband to see jazz?
It didn't take long at all. And you know what? It's because the conversation, like how you talked about before, like if the conversation's flowing, that knocks down barriers. You know what I mean? Like you come, oh, we're on a day. Okay, we got to be this version of ourselves. And then you get into a conversation or you start talking about your childhood and it's like, yo, me too. You know what I mean? Like it just, those walls fall down a lot quicker when you're able to have that chemistry with somebody. So it didn't take long at all. And that was one of the ways I knew like, hey, this person is someone who I can really be myself with, and that's important to me in a relationship.
D, do we ever get to meet D? Because I feel like we got years and 3 seasons, and I'm still like, oh, that's who you are. And I'm not disappointed at all. I'm always like, oh, that's nice too, you know.
No, I think well, one, I'm still discovering pieces of me, so there's that piece, right? So there's, you know, you might learn new things about me that I have also just recently discovered. So there's that. But I think initially upon meeting you guys, I was very guarded, and I was very like, I don't know. But then also when I was in those those social situations, I did put on my, you know, my actor hat in a way, to be outgoing. And because I am a super introvert, like it is actually very draining for me to be around a lot of people. So when I am with a lot of people, it's a whole thing that I have to like get ready to be, and, you know, be in the midst of all of that. But I think it probably took about a good year maybe before I really kind of like showed. And then also too, I wasn't really close with Black women growing up. So then it also took me some time to overcome a lot of my own insecurities about being around beautiful Black women, that I was like, oh, I can't hang out with these women. I'm not on their level. Like, I can't do this. You know, they're gonna see that I am not what they think I am. You know what I mean? So there was that too. So I think it took about a good year with y'all before you saw probably a lot of the different things that came along with me. I think with guys, it just kind of depends. Like, I know I've been, and then it depends on like when and how I met them. You know, like I started dating one guy shortly before my mom passed. And so he got to see a lot of rawness with me just because of the period of life that I was in, you know? Yeah. And he did a fantastic job handling that. Like, my friends in that time period, I love all y'all, because you put up with a lot coming from me, because I was in such a very devastating place. And then there are people that I meet where I am a little bit more guarded, because I'm like, I don't know if I'm really feeling you. I don't know if this is really what I want it to be. And so then it's like, all right, you know, you can get this version of me a little bit. I think once I start to hang out with friends, like their friends or my friends, then you can, that means to me that I'm feeling like I can trust you a little bit more with who I really am. Once I bring like friendships and family into the equation, then it's like, okay, you're starting to get pieces of me that, you know, you wouldn't maybe otherwise get. So I don't know how long that'll take.
That was going to be my question. Like, where in the relationship do you start to introduce your significant other to family and friends? Because that is the next step from just becoming exclusive in a relationship, but to now I'm letting you into my circle, into my inner world. And these are the people that are important to me that I want you to meet. That's a whole nother level.
It is. I would say for me, I think it's taken probably about a month and a half. The longest was about a month and a half. Okay. The shortest was like a day, because we were already mutual friends. So people knew we were dating. People knew, it just kind of, you know, it happened very quickly. But I would say the longest was probably about a month and a half, because I wanted to feel good in the relationship before letting other people into it.
Yeah.
So I took my time with that.
Yeah. Candace,
and I didn't want outside influences to make me doubt things or make me question things. Because, you know, you got those girlfriends who are like, ooh, girl, yes, or ooh, girl, no. He don't got this, he got this, yes, girl. And then it clouds your initial like instincts.
Yeah.
And so I really wanted to trust that instinct on my own. And I'm learning how to do that more now as I get older and wiser and more seasoned.
Yeah, I have only seriously dated people that are already like in my circle. I think like the dating that I take seriously and whatever, like my ex-fiance, my whole family knew him before I did. They introduced me to him. He used to live with my aunt. Like everybody knew who he was. So, and I think I like that because I'm like, my cousins like hooked us up. And so it's kind of like, okay, we know who you are. We know who you really are.
Yeah.
So we know what's going to work for you. And that's cool. Like if my family did the whole arranged marriage thing for me, I think it would work out. Like I'm like, all right, shoot. Because that was, you know, we're still good friends. It was a good match. But then you meet, because I do like present as a more gregarious person, like I meet those guys that are like, oh, what's your mama doing? Tell your mama I said hi. And my mom is like that. Like she's like, oh, who is that? Timmy? That's your new man? Hey, Timmy. Now they friends, you know? And so that has happened.
That because I remember being at your house and that situation was going on. And we all was talking to Miss Kim. Hey, Miss Kim. And she knew everybody. Like, yeah, that definitely is very true.
It's like one of those beautiful things, but not so beautiful. It depends on who you are. Because like if I'm on the phone, so my family, we don't have good boundaries. You probably realize that in how I converse with y'all. We don't have like good boundaries. So if someone is on the phone, like if I'm on the phone with one person, my whole house is on the phone with that person. Like they're gonna come through. Who are you talking to? They're not gonna like respect none of that. Who is that? Kim. Who is Kim? Where you know her from? Oh, hey girl. And then now we're all in it, you know, and then they'll keep talking to me while I'm on the phone with that person. And I have to engage. So whoever is ever on the phone, they gotta be. So I've never had any guy in my life not be a part of my familial situation, which is why I typically date people that already know, you know, my friends or my family.
Yeah.
That's why the implicit breakup is important to you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. That's $180 off my next therapy session. Thank you.
That makes sense.
Probably.
It tracks. It connects a little bit.
Yeah, because then my mom and them gonna be asking like, what happened to you? Don't talk to him. I liked him. All of that. Yeah, it's probably that.
But there is a level of safety that comes along with that because you're not having to do a lot of the investigations, the background checks, the credit check. No, I'm kidding. But you don't have to do a lot of that work to find out, okay, is this person safe for me to be in a relationship with? That's scary. And I think for my story, that was scary because me and my husband met cold on the street. Like literally, we did not know each other. We don't have any mutual friends. We're 10 years apart. He's much older than me. Like we don't have a connection at first, right? So it's like there's no one to vouch for him. There's no one to vouch for me. We're literally just going into this thing cold. So it was important for me to like get around his people, for him to get around my people, to like start to make those connections so that we could really see like, hey, is this someone that's going to work for me? Do we vibe together? Do our families vibe together? Like, are we a fit on that level? So that we could decide for ourselves like how we're going to do this thing or not. So
but you were like an immediate fit in that family, right? Because I remember calling you, was like, oh, I'm over at his people's house or whatever. And I thought you were with your people, like they sound the same. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, so initially, I think, well, we got together in the fall and then it was like the holiday season, right? So that's the perfect time to like bring somebody new around and like test them out with the fam. So that definitely helped and it was organic. Like we didn't have to put anything together to get people together. So yeah, I think that definitely worked out in our favor.
Would you have made a different decision with any of the guys that you dated if your family did not get along with them? Like how important is it that your family or their family is okay with the relationship? Because I know all three of us are really close with our families.
Yeah.
Like we family oriented, all three of us. So how much does that play into it?
That's important for me. And that was literally something on my list. I need someone who is family oriented and who fits and who, you know, I fit with their family, because if not, like, yeah, the two of us are in a relationship, but still, like, it has to fit, it has to click. And so, especially like with moms, like moms got that sixth sense. They know, like, they can tell someone's character right off the bat. They can tell if you vibe. So the first time that he came to my parents' house to meet them, my mom had seen pictures of him, and then he came in person. She was like, oh, hey, like, it was just an instant, like, she clung to him. And I call them fellow yellows. They're both light skinned. They got that in common. So I don't know, something about that. They just they just instantly clicked, and that made me feel a lot better that someone as discerning and, you know, testing as my mom could vibe with him right away. Then that put me at ease too. And the same for my dad. Like, my brothers too. I'm a daddy's girl. My brothers protect me. So the fact that everyone was on the same page really put me at ease.
But do you got a lot of brothers? Like, so
well, I have one adult brother. I have a lot of, I have 3 brothers, but only one of them is an adult. Although the other ones, I mean, look, they're at the age where they just tell you like it is. So
I mean, and kids are kids, you know, like if somebody's souling, right, they usually a little standoffish, like they project one way or another, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, how important is that like vibing with the family where you're concerned?
It's very important. My family is my life, you know, like they are my heart. So if he doesn't fit in with my family, now granted, my family is very niche. Like we like musicals, we like movies, we love Disney. So that's not something that everybody can rock with and vibe with. And I get that. But my dad loves to talk, he loves to share, he loves to be a part of things, and he wants to be a part of my life and also my relationship, like the process, right? So I value his opinion, I value his input. I'm also a daddy's girl, so like if Pops is cool, then we're cool. And then, you know, my adult siblings, they'll be honest. You know, like we are honest with each other as adults now. We're like, look, yes, no, don't like that, this is okay, this is not okay. And then the little ones, I mean, as kids, they are very innocent, but they're also very honest, and they'll be able to tell, like, this is somebody that I feel like I can have fun with. I can have fun with him, I can have fun with her. And if they can't, then they'll just be like, all right, cool. You know, but it's very important for me, for me to be able to bring that person home and be like, they can spend a day or two or whatever and vibe and rock with my family, and then vice versa. Like I want to be able to know that I can walk into your family, walk into your space, and be welcomed and comforted and accepted, and that it's a good fit on both sides. It's really important to me because my family was so close, like so close, not just my immediate family, but also my extended family, my aunts and uncles and cousins. My dad was an only child, and he was 100% fully embraced by my mom's side of the family. Like my aunts, my grandmother on my mom's side treats my dad like her son. My aunts on my mom's side treat my dad like their brother. Even after all these years of my mom being gone and my dad being remarried, it's not even a thing. My little brothers call my aunts their aunts, even though they're not blood related, like at all. But that's just the family unit that we have. And so that's really important to me. And as you know, I want to be able to drop the kids off and be like, you can walk down the street to Auntie's house today.
Yeah, that part is nice, I think. I don't know. I think it's something I might not place so heavily on my relationship at the moment, but we'll see. Because like I said, like I typically date internationals or that kind of thing. And so my mom is all like, do they speak English? What if they don't understand what I'm trying to say? And, you know, like I anticipate that kind of situation.
I will say this though. If he does not have a close relationship with his family, that's not a disqualifier. Let me say that. because I know that shit happens.
Yeah.
Life happens. So not being close to your family is not a disqualifier. It's more of like the character of who you are when you're around, let's say my family, if you're not close with your family, or even then understanding what happened with your family. And then if there's a reason why, like, okay, yeah, I had to make that decision for my health and my safety. Cool. I get that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's really more, I think that when we see people with their families, we do get a little bit more of a glimpse into who their character is and who they are as people and how they will treat you based on how they treat members of their family. So that's kind of what we're looking for when we say like that family tie. And then, you know, holidays, birthdays, family, all that stuff, you want it to be fun, you want it to be cool. So you want to be able to rock with each other.
Yeah. I think Jasmine mentioned like that was something on her list. I want to know about these lists. Can we talk about the list, Jazz?
Let's talk about it.
What's on your list?
Remember the list that you wrote in invisible ink and it faded? Too much for the podcast. Too much.
Wait a minute.
Why are you
Edit
the last few things that I added to my list.
Edit that out.
It's good. The last three, my list is only 5 things. Because people are like, oh, I bet you got a list and it's memorized. I'm like, I do have a list and it is memorized, but it's short. So that's why. And then I added 3 more things after dating somebody. I was like, no, I got to add these 3 things. I wrote it in a pink pen. And like, a month later, it was invisible. It was gone. Like I never written it. And I was like, the Lord
erased it.
It erased it. It was real superficial stuff. Like, yeah. It was
like, you don't need that. You don't need that.
Nope. You don't need that. It was
take that out.
Yeah.
So what were the things that stood the test of time on that list when the Lord came through, sweeping through your room at night?
I can't believe you remembered that.
Oh man.
My list is real short. Have accountability, like a brotherhood. Like he has his boys that hold him accountable. Because I don't want to be the only person who's asking you, you know, if you living right. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to be a nag, right? And there should be that other group that y'all trying to do life. You know, I got my squad. I'm not gonna be out here walking reckless. Like Jazz is gonna say something, you know. He might say something, maybe, or might pull me to the side and be like, yo, I don't know, you know. So I want that too. So it's not all on me, you know. And that's been really good. Friendship. I tend to only date my friends. So I feel like if you love that person as a friend, like that you're gonna rock with them, I feel like for me anyway, I can have a better sense of, I can put love if there's friendship, but I can't put friendship if we started somewhere else. Like it's hard for me to add that later. So yeah, those 2 have remained like good guiding factors.
Yeah.
Those are good.
Dee, what about you?
I don't have a list. I probably should have one.
We should write one right now because that is a guiding light. Let me tell you.
But I don't have one. But I probably should have one. So I'll have to think on that. But yeah, I have things that I'm looking for, things that I want, but I don't necessarily have like a list.
Like what's something you looking for? I want to know.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I guess like I'm not a huge conversationalist. So I'm not great on like back and forth conversation. Mm-hmm. But if I find the right person, me and that person could rap for hours, right? So I think that would be something on my list. And then the other thing too is, I think like you said, friendship, I think that goes into it too, is just being like, I want to be interested in your life. And I want you to be interested in mine. You know what I mean? So that we can do things together. we can also do things separately, and we support one another in those separate things. You know, like I want to be interested in who you are as a person, and vice versa. I don't know.
Jazz, what was on your list that God provided in this man?
Ooh.
Well,
tell me how
thanks to you, like we talked about in the other dating episode, kindness, that was a major thing that I didn't know I needed, but I received from the Lord. Kindness, family oriented, like we just talked about. I wanted someone who was mature. Didn't know that would play out in such a big age difference, but it is wonderful. I always would like joke about being with an older man, and then it came true. So having someone who, because we all know about that prefrontal cortex that develops in men around age 26, that if you don't have that, you're very impulsive, you're not good with judgment, all those things. You don't have to worry about that with a man that's older and that is actually a mature human being. So that maturity, I actually wanted someone who was like able to pull me out of my shell a little bit, because I'm introverted, but I'm also in the middle, kind of sometimes, sort of can be. But just having someone who is able to like be silly with me when we want to be silly, or chill when we want to chill. And that's definitely our everyday. Like we literally will dance around the house. We'll put on some music. We have all of our inside jokes. Humor was big. And I think I told someone one time, like, oh yeah, like humor is important to me. That's on my list, you know, for a significant other. And they were like, what kind of humor? Be specific, because you could say like, oh, you want a funny guy, but your humor has to mesh. And for me, I like offensive humor. So that was important. And that's definitely something that we both have. We could roast each other up and down, round and round all day. And that's what we do. We roast each other. So just having that was really important to me. So that was my list.
That's good.
Can I ask one more question before we go? Because I think we spent a lot of our other episodes talking about like what we want in a guy and the guys that we didn't like and all of that. And I'm very curious, what's something that you used to do when you dated before that you don't do now? Like what's an area in love that you have grown or that you learned? Something I've been really anxious to talk about is how women can be trash in relationships too. And how you got to grow to not be that person. And so I'm just curious.
I don't know. Give us an example.
Get married now.
Give us an example. What's something that...
So here's the thing. I used to, like I said, I never felt quite, I felt like if somebody really, really got to know me, they would leave, right? Like they were like, oh, that's who you are. Not cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't wake up like this, right? And I felt like if somebody actually saw that, they'd be like, dang, now I'm good. You know what I'm saying? So I would sabotage the relationship beforehand. Like I would meet in a nice, beautiful place and say, hey, I really like you a lot. I love how things are going. So let's break up. And I would just end it.
Cut it off.
Yes. Wow. And I did that once. Like I would never feel any regret. My pride basically was like better. And I was like, I ended that. And what, you know, I had that kind of like,
yeah.
Then I did that one last time, the love of my life. And I just like, and after that, I was like, okay, this shit it's not cool. I don't do that anymore. I don't sabotage my own relationships no more for the sake of my own pride.
Yeah. That's good. One thing that I just thought of, conflict resolution. So I used to be very like hated conflict, avoided it at all costs. If it happened, shove it under the rug and keep going. But now being married, you have to forgive, and you have to forgive quickly. Because if not, that's going to fester, and that's going to like, it's toxic, right? So one thing that I learned from him, we could have a fight, an argument, whatever, a disagreement, and he'll be fine. Like a couple minutes later, I'm still heated. I'm still thinking, I'm ruminating, which is why women just in general usually ruminate on things a lot more than men. which causes a host of like psychological issues, but that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I used to do that. I used to ruminate. I used to like fume to myself. I used to hold grudges. I used to be resentful. But now I've learned like, hey, you just gotta let it go and keep it moving. If I'm gonna be with this dude every day, day in and day out, we said till death do us part. What's the point of letting something like that fester, especially if it's something small that we disagreed about? You know what I mean? So I think have learned and am learning to let things go and to forgive quickly.
Ooh,
that's good.
That's good, Jazz. That's that deep right there. I feel like that's a lesson that can only be learned to that degree in marriage, where there's no escape.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really
Mm-hmm.
D-Money, what you got?
I was gonna say I'm the opposite. I'm very confrontational. So for me, it's like if I'm mad or if we're fighting or if there's some even like little things, petty things, you will know. Mm-hmm. And we will have a knockdown, drag out fight about it. I've been very disrespectful. I've just kind of come off and popped off, and none of that's been good. It's not productive. It's not helpful. It hurts me. It hurts you. So I've learned, but I think that comes from the place of me, like, I have like that fight or flight, and I'm a fighter. So when I get mad or angry, I go on the defense mode. If I feel like I'm being attacked, I'll go on like the defense mode, and then I attack back. Like I'll be like, no, boo, 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 boo. Like it's kind of like reactionary. So I've definitely learned why I do that. I'm working through why I do that. And then also just working on like really paying attention to my triggers so that I don't react, so that I can really take the time to think about it, process it, and then have a constructive conversation with someone. And this is translated into like not just my relationships with men, but like with my siblings, with my dad. So it's translated into a lot of other areas, but wanting to have like a constructive conversation about the issue as opposed to me just like popping off and saying what I say and not really caring about how the other person feels. So.
See, we growing in love. Can we grow in love? Oh my God.
Love is a journey. Listen, where you start should not be where you end. There's so much growth. There's so much personal growth.
Wait, what you say? Say that one more time now. What?
Girl, listen, you got run the tape back. I don't remember.
That is good. She said, in love, where you start should not be where you end up.
It shouldn't. It's such a journey, and it changes you and it challenges you. I don't think I was prepared to be challenged by love, but it does. It challenges you to the core. And I think it causes you to reflect, to be introspective. And if you have a partner that's willing to do the work and that's in the same place, it's beautiful.
I agree.
Wow.
Y'all, it's been an episode.
Woo.
It's been the season. It's our finale. So thank you. We owe a huge thank you to all of our listeners, our viewers, all you guys out there, Sotong fam. Y'all been rocking with us for 3 whole seasons, and we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Stay tuned. There's so much more that we have to talk about. Stay tuned.
Until next time.